Hi everyone, Cobweb Rose here, and I decided to add you guys a little bit of bonus content for our AT food storage option series, and I wanted to talk about food storage in camp. Things you should do, things you shouldn't do, and your options for storing food when you roll into a shelter at night. So let's get going. So if you guys choose to camp out at one of many beautiful shelters along the AT, when you get into camp every night, there's probably going to be some kind of food storage option available to you. Now you do have to still pack your food in some kind of storage of your own. So you're gonna have to choose between the bear bag, the sack, or the bear vault, or even the op sack, depending on how froggy you're feeling about your food storage. But when you get into camp every night, you may not have to hang or go put your can in the woods or tie your sack around the tree. The shelter may have some kind of option for you to store your food once you get there. Now, if early on in Georgia, actually at the first shelter I stayed at on Trail Hawk Mountain, they had bear cables at the site. And what bear cables is when you get to a shelter, you might look up between a couple of trees and see something that looks like somebody honestly started building something with random pieces of equipment and strung it up between trees. That was my first impression of a bear cable when I saw it. But it's literally a metal wire that's strung between two trees. It'll usually have some kind of circular guard on either side, and that's to prevent squirrels and mice from being able to just run along the cable and down the clips and get into your food and chew through your bags. And then they'll have some kind of hooks hanging down and big loops going from the hooks to a carabiner usually attached at the bottom of the tree where you can get it. And essentially what it is it's a pulley system for you to be able to store your food at the appropriate height, away from other people and away from where bears can get to it, without having to do the work of a bear hang. So what you do with these cables, and honestly I wish I was at a shelter so I could demonstrate this for you, is you take the end that is clipped to the tree, unclip it, you use it like a pulley, get down that clip that's at the top, attach your food bag to it or your sack. You cannot put your bear can on these guys, so please don't try. I take that back. You can put a rope inside your bear can and hang your bear can from this, but that is not recommended by the manufacturer. Please go put your bear can in the woods the way that the manufacturer intended you to do it. Anywho, you will attach your bag to that carabiner or that clip that's at the top, and then you use it like a pulley system again to raise your bag like it's going on a flagpole, and then reclip it at the bottom of the tree. And now you have hung your food appropriately at the shelter, out of a bear's reach, hopefully out of the rodent's reach, just because of those guards on the end, and it's super easy to get up and down when you need it. Also, these lines are really strong, so you can hang a bunch of people's bags on here. So please don't be stingy and use one just for yourself. If you've got a family of 5 and all 5 of you have bear bags or sacks, please, if they fit on the clip, hang them all together. That way it leaves the other clips available for other people. And that's one option that you'll see at a shelter. Now, probably the most common option that you'll see at shelters, especially when you first start the trail in the South, is bear boxes. These are big honkin' metal boxes with a big old lock on them, like a carabiner lock, and they have really heavy lids, and they're heavy enough that a bear is not gonna be able to just pull the whole box away. Sometimes you'll see them chained to trees because of bear activity in the area. It just kind of depends, but this is like the most low maintenance food storage you will get when you're in camp. You literally walk over to the box, flip the latch down, open the lid. A lot of times the lids will stay open on their own. You just drop your bag or your sack or your can down inside of it, close it, latch it, clip to make sure that bears cannot just open the lid, and you're good to go. It should be safe from rodents, it should be safe from bears. Now that being said, I always read the far out comments for every campsite to make sure there wasn't an issue with rodents getting into the bear box. Now I say that because sometimes their holes can rust through the bear box, or mice can fit through really, really small places, and There have been times that mice get into the bear boxes, eat everybody's food. You open it up in the morning expecting your food is going to be there just fine, and look, there's a hole in your bag and you have no food left. So just be mindful of that when you're using bear boxes. Also, bear boxes can fill up pretty quickly because it's a set volume of storage. So if you're, say, in the whites where there's a ton of people funneled into the same campsite, you've got everybody's bear bags, sacks, and bear cans in there. It fills up really quick. So what I always try to do as a bear can user was, if I noticed there were a lot of people in camp and there were a lot of food bags already in the bear box, I would usually just go and put my can in the woods because the bear is less likely to get it, and I don't have to do any work to hang it, unlike people who have sacks and bear bags. That was just what I always personally try to do if it was a busy night at the campsite. Now, another option that you'll see, primarily, I pretty much only saw them in the mid-Atlantic states. Maryland was like one of the only places, Maryland and Pennsylvania were one of the only places that I personally saw this, but there's also an option for a bear pole, and they're basically just literally really tall metal poles with like diagonal hooks hanging off of the top, and there's usually some kind of really long stick with a curve at the end of it that's near the bear pole. And what you do is you literally hang whatever you need to hang on there, you lift that big old stick up, and you get your item looped onto one of those diagonal prongs, and that's how you hang your food. Now, that being said, the biggest issue I heard of about using the bear poles was that there are some really crafty raccoons along the trail, and the raccoons learned how to climb the bear poles, and they would steal people's bags or rip them open on the bear poles. So another reason to read those far out comments when you're rolling into camp. If you're planning on using a bear pole, just make sure that there isn't a pesky raccoon in the area that's figured out how to climb it and will steal your food in the middle of the night, because if that's the case, you might just want to go and hang. Whether you are stealth camping or staying at a shelter, pretty much one option that is abundant on the AT to use for food storage is trees, guys. They don't call it the green tunnel for nothing. There's trees all over the place. You are not allowed to camp above tree line on the AT, so you should be able to find some place to hang your food. That being said, not all trees are good food hang options. Please make sure you're not hanging off of a dead limb or someplace where you're going to be over a good potential tent site if someone else is rolling into camp late. So just be mindful of the trees that you're choosing when you hang your food at night. But whether you are hanging or tying your sack around a tree, or if you're placing your bear can at the base of a tree, just be mindful of how far you're doing it from camp. Please make sure it's far enough away, and be mindful of the people that are in camp with you. So I'm going to give you guys a few tips on using that camp storage, just a little etiquette for you so that you're not that person when you're in camp. Please always be mindful of others. Like I said, don't hang your food above somebody else's tent. Please don't hang it above a perfectly good campsite, because someone else may come in at 9 o'clock at night. They've night hiked 24 miles that day, and they're not looking above their tent site for Widowmakers at that point. They're not looking above it for food bags. They're just gonna plop their tent down and crawl in. So please don't be that person that hangs above someone else's tent. If you're planning on sleeping with your food, kind of an unspoken hiker etiquette is that you ask the people around you if they're okay with that, because some people do have really strong preferences and opinions when it comes to other people sleeping with their food. And if you're going to be one of those people, that's fine, but just be mindful of it, and please ask those around you if you're one of those people that routinely sleeps with your food. If the bear box is full or getting full and there's a lot of people in camp and there's a lot of bags in the bear box, please, if you are a bear can user, just be considerate. Go put your bear can in the woods somewhere, because you don't really need to take up that storage space that's going to keep rodents and bears out of somebody's food bag, because you don't have to worry about rodents getting into your bear can. So I always try to go put mine in the woods if it was getting full, because honestly, I've got to do way less work to store my bear can than somebody who's hanging their food bag every night or tying it around a tree. So just be mindful, be considerate of others. Also, remember, bear cables make a lot of noise. A lot of them have a very squeaky sound to them. So if you're entering or exiting camp late, just be mindful of the amount of noise that you're making when you're using those bear cables. I'm not saying don't use them, because everybody gets it. You have to be able to hang your food, but before you put your bear bag on that cable for the night, if you're in camp late, just make sure you've got your trash bag, your toothbrush, your toothpaste, your utensils, any of your smellable items in there already, so you don't have to go back to your bear bag, squeak those cables really bad again, taking your bear bag down just to put more stuff in it and put it back up again. So like I said, always be considerate of others. Also remember, like I said earlier, raccoons can climb bear poles, so bear that in mind. And remember, not all trees are good for hanging. Please also don't hang too many bags from a branch because branches do break. I've heard branches in camp break before, and just because it looks healthy doesn't mean that it is. So if you're hanging like 4 bags a night off of a limb, maybe don't make it a limb that's the size of your pinky. Maybe pick something thicker that looks a little bit more alive. Also, please don't forget to store your smellables. I've put the reminder at the end of every one of the videos. Please, please, please remember to store your trash, your toothbrush, your toothpaste, your lotions, your sunscreen, any of your smellables, including your utensils, and your cook pot if you happen to cook food in there, in your bear bag or your bear can or your sack at night, because those retain scent and can attract bears and other critters to your tent or the shelter site. And as always, please remember to share with others. Space is limited. So if you are in camp with a friend that you know and you find a really good branch, but it's the only good one you found in the entire campsite, be a friend. Ask them if they want to hang with you. And it's okay, guys, if you want to ask to hang with somebody else. If somebody's got a really good bear hang going and you're not that good at it, just ask. The worst they can do is say no. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please be safe out there with your food storage. Have a great time while you're out on trail. Please like and subscribe the channel, share with your friends, share your comments, suggestions, questions below in the comments section. And as always, happy trails, everyone.